Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you've had a good day, good weekend, not weekend yet, that's tomorrow. Um, we've got another player with us. We've got Betty playing Isaboe now, and I'm playing Sebastian instead of Simon. So we're starting a new campaign called Ashes of What Remains. This is episode one, What Still Smolders. Um, all right, the music today is currently from Everrune still. It may change, it may not, you don't know. Um, all right, I guess we're ready to go.
The road does not have a name anymore. It used to. Someone once bothered to give it one, chiseled it into a milestone, told a story about how it connected honest places to other honest places. That was before the frontier swallowed everything that wasn't nailed down. Now it's just mud, broken stone, and the kind of silence that feels intentional. Sebastian and Isabeau arrive at the same moment for different reasons. That's how these things always work. No destiny fanfare, no celestial choir clearing its throat, just two lives colliding because the alternative was worse. The settlement ahead squats against the tree line like it's waiting to be judged. Old palisade walls patched with scavenged lumber. Smoke rises, but thin, careful. Whoever lives here has learned not to advertise too loudly. A bell hangs above the gate, cracked and dark with rust. The sort of bell that hasn't rung in a long time, because everyone who remembers how is dead or smarter now. Beyond the walls, something is wrong. You can feel it before you can name it. The air has that post-disaster taste, like the world recently made a mistake and hasn't decided whether to apologize. This place is called Harrow's Reach. That's what the sign says. The lettering is new enough to be suspicious. A caravan is pulled off the road just outside the gate. One wagon lies on its side, wheels split like broken teeth. There's blood in the mud, dark and already drying. Too much for a bar fight, not enough for a massacre. The sweet spot of violence where survivors exist and regret everything. No guards rush out, no alarm sounds, someone inside is watching, you don't know who. You only know they noticed you arrive. Sebastian feels his patron stir, not loudly, not helpfully, more like a lazy grin in the back of the skull. This place is ripe. Isabeau recognizes the look of abandonment wearing a disguise. She's seen it before. Places that pretend to be safe because admitting the truth would break them. The gate stands open. No one tells you to enter. No one tells you to leave. Whatever went wrong here hasn't finished going wrong yet. And that's where we begin.
Okay. First off, Sebastian is a level 2 warlock, level 1 fighter, and Isabeau is a level 3 rogue. She's human, and Sebastian is a wood elf. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get this started. Begin the game now.
The mud sucks at your boots as you stand before the open gate. Nothing
Yep.
moves. Not inside the walls, not on the road behind you. Even the birds have decided this is a bad place to advertise their continued existence. Up close, the caravan tells a clearer story. One horse lies dead in the traces, throat opened cleanly, not the messy work of animals. The wagon on its side was pushed, not overturned in panic. Whoever did this knew how to end a fight fast and didn't bother finishing the job once they had what they wanted. There are drag marks leading toward the tree line that stop abruptly, like someone changed their mind or ran out of time. Inside Harrow's Reach, shapes shift behind gaps in the palisade. A shutter closes. Somewhere metal scrapes against wood, not an alarm, more like someone quietly making sure a door is barred. Sebastian's patron does not speak again. That silence is deliberate, like a lawyer smiling and folding their hands. Isabeau clocks the geometry of the place without thinking. The gate is a choke point. The walls are high enough to slow, not stop. The settlement is built for hiding, not defending. If things go bad inside, they will go bad everywhere at once. A figure finally steps into view just inside the gate. Human, wrapped in a patched coat that used to be a uniform before time and cowardice got their say. One hand rests near a spear, the other never leaves the bell rope above him. He does not greet you, he looks past you at the road. Then he says, flat and tired, if you're here to trade, you're late. If you're here to help, you're early. And if you're here because you heard something went wrong, he lets that hang. You heard right. The gate remains open. You are standing on the threshold of Harrow's Reach. Sebastian and Isaboe are free to act.
What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Ask him what happened here.
Yeah.
Sebastian will ask the guard what happened here.
The guard exhales through his nose like he's been carrying that answer around all day, and it's gotten heavier with every step. What always happens, he says. Something noticed us. His eyes flick to the overturned wagon, then to the tree line, then back to Sebastian. He's measuring. Not strength, experience. Caravan came in last night, 6 wagons. Word was they were bringing salt, lamp oil, iron nails, the boring stuff that keeps a place alive. His jaw tightens. They never made it inside. He shifts his grip on the spear, not threatening, nervous. Didn't hear a fight. That's the part that keeps me awake. No shouting, no horns, just quiet. By the time we saw shapes moving out there, it was already done. He nods toward the blood. They took 2 people, left the rest alive, like that was the point. A pause, then lower. This isn't the first time. He finally looks directly at Isaboe. There's apology there, which is never a good sign. Whatever's doing it doesn't raid, it selects. Comes close enough to smell fear, then leaves something behind so we don't forget. He swallows. You planning to walk through the gate or stand there until night makes the decision for you?
No, we can go there.
Okay. We go inside the gate and look around.
The guard steps aside without ceremony. No blessing, no warning, just a small nod that says, if you survive, that's on you. Inside Harrow's Reach, the place exhales. The settlement is tighter than it looked from the road. Buildings lean toward each other like they're sharing secrets. Most are half stone, half salvage, built from whatever wasn't burned, buried, or stolen the last time the world flinched. Windows are narrow, shutters thick. Every door has been reinforced at least once, sometimes badly. People are watching you, not openly. Faces slip back behind curtains. A child is pulled inside by the collar of their shirt. Somewhere, a dog growls and is immediately silenced. The central lane bears the marks of last night, mud churned by boots that moved with purpose, not panic. A dropped crate split open, its contents gone except for one crushed lantern, wick snapped clean. Deliberate, mean. Sebastian feels the faintest tug at his holy symbol. Not heat, not pain, interest. His patron is paying attention again, which is never free. Isaboe notices something else. The layout doesn't match the damage. If raiders had hit the caravan hard, there would be chaos inside the walls, broken doors, and screaming. Everything is restrained, like the violence was precise and the fear is being rationed. Near the center of the settlement stands a longhouse that's trying very hard to look official. A cracked sign hangs above the door. Council hall, someone has scrubbed blood from the steps, but missed the seams between the stones. Off to one side, a narrow alley runs toward the back of the palisade. You can still see where something heavy was dragged that way before the rain started to erase it. No one stops you. No one welcomes you. Harrow's Reach is waiting to see what kind of mistake you are. What do Sebastian and Isaboe do next?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Okie dokie. So what do you want to do? Go to the council hall?
It's probably our best bet.
Okay. We go to the council hall to see if we can help any.
The doors of the council hall resist you just a little before giving way. Not locked, just swollen with damp and neglect, like everything else here. Inside, the air smells of old smoke, wet wool, and the metallic ghost of blood someone tried very hard to pretend never existed. A single long table dominates the room, scarred with knife marks and candle burns. The kind of table where arguments end badly and decisions are made anyway. 3 chairs sit occupied. 2 are empty. 1 has been knocked over and left that way, which feels intentional. The people inside stop talking the moment you enter. At the head of the table sits a woman in her late 40s, hair pulled back so tight it looks like she's angry at her own skull. Her coat is practical, her eyes are not. Those have seen a few too many versions of the same bad ending. This is the closest thing Harrow's Reach has to leadership. To her right, an older man with ink-stained fingers and a tremor he's failing to hide. Records, maps, names of people who no longer answer to them. To her left, a broad-shouldered figure in boiled leather armor, one arm bandaged, blood seeping through despite the effort to stay dignified. Muscle, the kind that survives by not asking philosophical questions. The woman exhales, slowly, controlled. So, she says, voice dry as chalk. You made it past the gate. That means one of two things. You're either useful or you don't understand danger yet. Her gaze flicks briefly to Sebastian's holy symbol, then to Isaboe's hands, her stance, the way she occupies space like she's already measured exits. I'm Marrow Fen, she continues, acting counsel, which means I get blamed if you die and blamed harder if you live. She gestures to the overturned chair. That seat belonged to a man who thought we were being tested. He volunteered to follow the tracks last night. A beat. We buried what came back this morning. Silence stretches. Heavy. Deliberate. If you're here to help, Marrow says, leaning forward now, tell me what you think you're good at. If you're here for coin, we'll get to that lie shortly. The council hall waits.
I think it's best to ask what you're looking for.
What was the one who went out, but you buried looking for last night?
Marrow Fen doesn't answer right away. She looks at the overturned chair again, like it might contradict her if she's careless. He was looking for proof, she says at last, that it was just people. Bandits, raiders, anything with a shape you can name and a throat you can cut. The older man with the ink-stained fingers flinches at that. He doesn't interrupt. Marrow continues, voice steady but thin. Tomas swore if he could follow the tracks far enough, he'd find a camp. Fires, footprints that made sense, something we could plan around. She folds her hands, white-knuckled. He followed the drag marks into the trees. He came back just before dawn. A pause, too long. He was alone. He was walking. He was wrong. The armored figure shifts, leather creaking. His bandaged arm tightens reflexively. He kept saying he'd found it, Marrow says. Not them. Not someone. Just it. Said it wasn't hunting the caravan. The caravan was bait. Her eyes lift to Sebastian now. Sharp. Assessing. Tomas didn't have wounds you could point to. No missing flesh. No claw marks. Just blood where blood shouldn't be and none where it absolutely should have been. She swallows. His eyes never stop tracking something that wasn't there. The scribe finally speaks. Voice brittle. He asked us why we built the walls the wrong way. Marrow nods once. Then he apologized for bringing it closer. Silence drops again. Thicker than before. We buried him because leaving him above ground felt like an invitation, she finishes. And because whatever he saw, he didn't die from it. Not really. She leans back. So if you're asking what he was looking for, she says, flat now, he was looking for reassurance. That's not what he found.
What are you looking for from us?
What are you looking for from us?
Marrow Fen studies you the way a storm studies a roof. Not with anger, with inevitability. What I want, she says, is for this to stop. She lets that hang, then exhales and corrects herself. What I'm willing to ask for is smaller. She reaches under the table and pulls out a folded scrap of oilcloth. She doesn't slide it to you yet. I want you to go where Thomas went, she says. No poetry, no apology, not far. Farther is how you die. I want eyes on the tree line before night decides to make another example. The armoured figure finally speaks, voice rough. Tracks lead to an old charcoal pit, abandoned, half sunk. There's a stand of black pine around it that doesn't grow right, bark like it's been boiled. Marrow nods once, then continues. I want to know if this thing is near or settled. She taps the table. If it's testing us or claiming us. The scribe adds quietly, and if it can be followed without it noticing. Marrow's eyes don't leave you. In return, she says, you get shelter, food, and coin enough to justify the risk. More if you bring back something useful. Less if you bring back panic. A beat. If you decide not to help, I won't stop you. I'll just close the gate behind you and write your names down so we don't open it again if you come back running. She finally slides the oilcloth forward, a rough map scratched in charcoal. The tree line, the drag marks, a symbol where Thomas turned back. This isn't hero work, Marrow says. It's reconnaissance. She tilts her head slightly. Are you the sort of people who look or the sort who hope?
Well, I guess we go look for where Thomas went.
Yep.
Sebastian and Isaboe decide to go follow Thomas's tracks to see what he found.
Marrowfen nods once, no relief, just confirmation. Good, she says. That means you understand the difference between bravery and curiosity. She stands and raps her knuckles on the table. A signal. The armoured guard rises, wincing, and pulls the door open for you. Outside the walls, the light has gone thin and grey, like the day is already budgeting for night. The gate closes behind you with a careful, almost polite thud. Not locked, not welcoming either. The tracks are still there, though the rain has been working on them like an editor. Drag marks, boot prints. Then Thomas's steps alone heading into the tree line. He didn't run. He didn't hesitate. That might be the most unsettling part. The trees swallow sound fast. Pines crowd close, their bark dark and scarred, some of it blistered as if exposed to heat long after the fire was gone. The ground dips ahead. You can just make out the edge of a wide, sunken circle in the earth. The old charcoal pit. This is where Thomas stopped being nearly brave. Before we go any farther, I need a couple of things from you. And remember, you roll for Sebastian and Isaboe. Have Sebastian make a survival check to read and follow Thomas's trail without losing it. Have Isaboe make a perception check to spot anything watching, moving, or subtly wrong before it spots you. Tell me the results and we'll see what noticed whom first.
Give me a second.
Okay.
It's been a minute. Got 25.
Okay.
Sebastian does his best, but the trail is uncooperative. The rain has chewed the finer details away, and whatever passed through here last night did not leave the kind of honest footprints that want to be followed. Thomas's tracks smear, double back once in a way that makes no sense, then fade entirely near the edge of the pit. Sebastian can tell where someone was, but not why and not how they left. It feels less like losing a trail and more like the trail deciding it's done with him. Isaboe, meanwhile, sees everything. Not in a dramatic, heroic way, in the quiet, predatory way that keeps people alive. She notices that the forest isn't just silent, it's selectively silent. Wind moves the higher branches, but nothing stirs at ground level. No insects, no birds. Even the usual forest rot smells wrong, muted like something scrubbed the air too clean. She spots it before they step fully into the clearing. At the far edge of the charcoal pit, half hidden by sagging earth and blackened timber, there's a shape pressed into the ash. Not a footprint, not a body print, a kneeling mark, human-sized, deep, like someone knelt there for a long time, weight grinding down into the soot and soil, long enough that the ash compacted and cracked. And just beyond it, carved lightly into the inner wall of the pit, shallow enough you'd miss it unless you were looking exactly right, are symbols. Not letters, not runes, more like repeated motions, scratches made by something learning how hands work. Isaboe also realizes something else, cold and immediate. Whatever was here last night is not here now, but it knows this place is being checked. Because as she shifts her weight, a single pine needle slides off a branch 30 feet away and lands in the ash. There was no wind. Sebastian feels his patron stir again, not a grin this time, interest sharpened into focus. You are standing at the edge of the charcoal pit. You have been noticed. What do Sebastian and Isaboe do next?
Well, Isabeau is going to go put on a t-shirt because Isabeau is fucking hot.
Okay. You be back in a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to do? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay.
What do you think we should do?
I say we check the marks in the pit.
Okay.
Sebastian will check the marks in the pit while Isabeau keeps an eye out.
Sebastian steps closer to the pit, boots crunching softly in alcohol and damp ash. The ground here feels wrong, not unstable, tired, like it's been asked the same question too many times. He crouches near the kneeling mark. Up close, it's unmistakable. Someone knelt here deliberately, knees pressed in, weight centered. Not collapse, not prayer either. Waiting. The ash is compacted enough that it had to be minutes, maybe longer. Long enough to listen. The scratches along the inner wall resolve under his scrutiny. They aren't symbols in any language Sebastian knows, but they repeat patterns. Lines that start confident, then hesitate. Curves that almost become letters and then give up. Whatever made them was practicing. Learning how to record something with hands that weren't used to it. Sebastian's holy symbol grows faintly warm. Not a warning. Recognition. The kind that makes your stomach drop because it means something else already knows the rules. Isaboe stays back, eyes moving constantly. Left tree line, right tree line, behind them, above. She notices how the forest seems to correct itself when she looks too long in one direction. Branches settle, shadows realign, as if the woods don't like sustained attention. Then she sees it, not movement, absence. A stretch of trees downslope where depth perception collapses. 30 feet looks like 10. 10 looks like right there. The space folds inward subtly, like a held breath. That's where Tomas would have walked next if he'd kept going. And she's certain now. Certain in the way that bypasses fear and goes straight to math. They are not being stalked. They are being evaluated. Sebastian realizes one more thing as he finishes examining the marks. There's no blood here, none at all. Tomas didn't get hurt at the pit. Whatever changed him happened after. The air tightens, not threatening, expectant. You have a moment, not much of one. What do Sebastian and Isaboe do?
I think I'll kneel in the same spot to see what happens.
Okay.
Sebastian will kneel in the spot where someone else already knelt to see what he can see from that vantage point.
Sebastian lowers himself into the kneeling mark. The fit is exact enough to be unsettling. Knees settle into the compacted ash as if the ground remembers the shape. The world subtly reorients around that posture, like a lens clicking into place. From here, the pit is no longer just a pit. The ash forms faint radial streaks, all angled toward the same point downslope. The trees beyond don't merely blur, they refuse alignment. Trunks that should be straight kink slightly when viewed from this angle, not bending, just misreporting themselves. Distance lies, perspective cheats. The forest ahead behaves like a thought you can't quite finish. Sebastian's holy symbol warms again, this time with a pressure behind the eyes. Not a voice, not words, a proposition. Yes, that's the right way to look. He realizes what Tomas found here wasn't a creature. It was a method. Whatever did this wasn't hiding. It was standing in plain sight, changing the rules of how sight works. If you look at it directly, your mind edits it out. If you look from the wrong angle, you see nothing. If you kneel, if you wait, if you let the world come to you instead of the other way around, you can perceive the outline of something that doesn't want to be a thing yet. For a fraction of a second, Sebastian sees a negative space in the trees, a suggestion of mass without surface, like the absence left behind when something very large stops pretending to be small. Then Isaboe hisses, low and sharp. Not panic, precision. She hasn't seen it move. She's seen the forest adjust around it, branches subtly part to allow passage, shadows reweave themselves. The wrongness downslope is closer now, not by distance, but by relevance. Sebastian understands something Tomas didn't get time to articulate. It lets people see it once. After that, it decides what they're for. The pressure lifts, the moment passes. You are still in the charcoal pit, night is coming, and something nearby has finished its evaluation.
What should we do?
I honestly have no idea. I really don't understand what's going on.
There's this thing in the woods that's distorting distances. Should we try to see what the thing is?
Sure.
We try to see better what the shadow is.
You try to look at it more directly. That's the mistake Thomas made second. The moment your attention sharpens, the forest reacts like a body flinching before pain. Depth collapses further. The space downslope compresses. It's no longer 30 feet away in any meaningful sense. It's adjacent in the way a thought is adjacent to the mind that thinks it. Isaboe feels it first. A pressure behind the eyes, like trying to remember a face you were never allowed to see. Her instincts scream, "Don't blink," then immediately contradict themselves with, "Don't stare." Whatever this thing is, it exists in the narrow crack between those two rules. Sebastian, still kneeling, feels his patron go very still. Not afraid, respectful. The shadow resolves just enough to be wrong. Not a silhouette, not a creature, more like a subtraction. The trees behind it are present, but diminished, as if something has skimmed meaning off their surfaces. The air around it warps faintly, like heat shimmer without heat. It does not move. The world moves to accommodate it. A branch snaps softly somewhere to your left. Not from weight, from adjustment. You get the sense, sudden and undeniable, that if you push harder, if you insist on clarity, it will give it to you, once, briefly, completely. And that whatever you see will cost you something you don't get to choose. This is the line. Before we go further, I need rolls, because what you're attempting now brushes against limits. Have Sebastian make a wisdom saving throw to hold his perspective without letting something else adjust it for him. Have Isaboe make an investigation check to interpret what she's seeing without trying to force it into a familiar shape. Tell me the results.
$15.
Isaboe rolls a 15 and Sebastian rolls a 16.
You don't push. That's the difference. Sebastian's will holds, not by strength, but by restraint. He doesn't demand understanding. He lets the sensation pass through him without trying to own it. Whatever is out there tests the edges of his perception, then withdraws slightly when it finds nothing to hook into. His patron's presence tightens for a heartbeat, then loosens. Approval, not warmth, not safety, just acknowledgement that the rules were followed. Isaboe, meanwhile, does what she does best. She reads the crime scene instead of chasing the culprit. The shadow isn't a predator in the normal sense. It doesn't stalk, it doesn't lunge, it aligns. It finds places where reality is already cracked, already thin, and leans on them until something gives. Harrow's reach isn't under attack, it's being prepared. She realizes the kneeling mark wasn't submission or worship, it was calibration. Thomas didn't kneel to see it better. He knelt so it could see him. The shadow doesn't want bodies. It wants positions, observers, anchors, people who will return and make space for it without knowing they're doing it. And now it knows Sebastian and Isaboe are not useful in that way. The pressure lifts fully. The forest exhales. Depth returns imperfectly, like a lie being patched over. The presence is gone, not retreated, dismissed. Sebastian feels something cold settle in his chest. A certainty with no emotion attached. It will come back, but not tonight. You have what you came for, more than you wanted, less than you deserve. The question now isn't what the thing is, it's what Harrow's Reach will do with the knowledge that it can be seen. You are standing in the charcoal pit as the light begins to fail. What do you do next?
Go back and report to Marrow.
Yeah.
We go back and report to Marrow, the head of the council. I've got to run to the little boy's room. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Alright, I'm back. I need to change something on my character sheet real quick. Okay.
You leave the pit without haste and without running. Whatever rules apply out there, clearly respect that choice. By the time Harrow's Reach comes back into view, dusk has settled into the kind of grey that makes every shadow feel like a rehearsal. The gate opens faster this time, not welcoming, alert. Word travels fast in places that expect to die quietly. Inside, people clock your faces immediately. You're not wide-eyed, you're not bleeding. That alone changes the temperature of the settlement. Hope does not appear, but something adjacent to it stirs. Worry with posture. Marrowfen is already standing when you enter the council hall again. She doesn't ask how it went. She watches how you move, how you breathe, how you look at corners. You saw it, she says, not a question. She waits until the door is closed before anyone speaks further. Sebastian explains first. Not poetry, not theology, just the facts that matter. The kneeling mark, the way perspective breaks, the sense that looking harder is the wrong instinct. He does not name his patron's reaction, but Marrow notices when he pauses there. Isaboe fills in the rest. The calibration. Tomas kneeling so it could take his measure. The realization that the thing isn't raiding, isn't hunting, isn't even territorial in the usual sense. It's preparing space, teaching the land how to make room for it. The room stays quiet for a long time after. The armored councillor finally swears softly, like it's a prayer he hates needing. The scribe writes nothing. His hands hover, then fold. Marrowfen absorbs all of it without flinching. When she speaks again, her voice is lower, more dangerous. So it can be seen, she says, but only if you don't try to own the seeing. She nods once to herself. That explains why Tomas came back wrong. He thought understanding meant control. She looks at both of you now, direct, unblinking. You've given us something better than answers. You've given us rules. She straightens, the leader again. We'll move the night watch. No kneeling, no long looks, no sentries alone at the tree line. Fires stay low, walls don't change. We stop making space. A pause. And we don't tell the town everything. Fear would do half its work for it. She reaches into a small strongbox and sets 2 heavy coin purses on the table. More than promised, not generosity, investment. You bought us time, Marrow says. That matters here. Then, quieter just for you. And now it knows you don't belong to it. That is not reassurance. That is a statement of fact. Outside, the bell above the gate gives a faint accidental chime as the wind shifts. No one touches the rope. Harrow's Reach settles in for a careful night, and somewhere beyond the trees, something has marked a settlement as not ready yet. That's where we'll pause, unless you want to press on into the night.
Whoops. How much money do we each get?
Marrow wasn't kidding about the investment part. Each of you is paid 50 gold pieces, clean coin, mixed mints, nothing freshly looted or suspicious. That's already more than most frontier towns would risk on strangers. Then she adds a quiet sweetener. Sebastian receives an additional 10 gold earmarked as a consultation fee. Not for spells, not for miracles, for knowing when not to look. She doesn't phrase it that way, but that's what she's paying for. Isaboe is offered either another 10 gold or first pick of anything useful salvaged from the ruined caravan once daylight returns. Tools, supplies, oddities. Marrow makes it clear this is about judgment, not greed. So the totals look like this. Sebastian, 60 GP, Isaboe, 50 grams P now, with the option to convert 10 GP into salvage rights later. No speeches. No applause. Just coin-changing hands and the unspoken understanding that Harrow's Reach will remember who bought them breathing room. Time, around here, is the most expensive currency of all.
Alright, so I've got 60 gold. You got your money marked?
Yep. And yours.
Okay. What do you want to do? Go to bed? Wait till the morning, or keep watch tonight?
We could take turns.
Okay. Isaboe and Sebastian take turns keeping watch while the other sleeps. Is there an inn we can stay at?
Marrow answers before you even finish the question, like she's been expecting it. There is, she says, and it's not good, which makes it perfect. She has someone escort you across the settlement as the last usable light drains from the sky. Harrow's reach after dark is a study in restraint. No open laughter, no music. Doors shut softly. Lanterns are hooded to slits. The place isn't asleep so much as holding its breath. The inn squats near the inner wall, half tavern, half apology. A faded sign hangs over the door, paint flaked down to almost nothing. You can just make out the name, the Crooked Crown. Inside, the air is warmer and smells like boiled grain, old ale, and wood that's been soaked too many times to remember fire fondly. A few locals nurse drinks in silence. Nobody asks your business. That's courtesy, not kindness. The innkeeper is a broad woman with iron grey hair and a scar that pulls one side of her mouth downward permanently. She gives you a look that says she's buried guests before and will do it again if needed. You want beds, she says, not a question. You want quiet. You want a door that locks and a window that doesn't. She jerks a thumb toward the stairs. One room, 2 cots. You keep watch. You don't wake the rest of us screaming. Fair trade. The room upstairs is small but solid. Thick door, heavy latch. The window is narrow and looks out over the palisade, not the trees. Someone thought that through. When the door closes behind you, the muffled sounds of the inn settle into a low, steady murmur. Safe enough to sleep, not safe enough to forget where you are. You set your watches. One sleeps, one listens. Outside, the night behaves itself. No bending shadows, no pressure behind the eyes. Just wind, distant creaking wood, and the sound of a town daring the dark to try again tomorrow. Harrow's Reach holds, for now.
Take a long rest and wait till the morning?
Sure.
Okay. Take a long rest and wait till the morning.
The night passes the way a held breath finally gives up. Sebastian takes the first watch. The inn settles around him in familiar creaking noises. Wood cooling, someone coughing 2 rooms over, a drunk arguing with sleep and losing. His patron stays quiet, not absent, just watching from a distance, like a vulture that's already eaten and isn't hungry yet. Nothing presses at the window, nothing leans into thought. Whatever rule was established out in the trees is being respected. That, more than silence, lets him relax. Isaboe takes the second watch. She listens the way some people pray. Not for reassurance, but for deviation. The palisade outside holds its shape. Shadows stay where shadows are supposed to stay. Once, very late, she hears footsteps on the wall walk past, pause, then continue. A patrol doing exactly what Marrow said they would do. No kneeling, no lingering. When she finally sleeps, it's real sleep. Not deep, not pleasant, but uninterrupted. The kind that keeps you alive. Morning comes grey and cold. Harrow's Reach wakes carefully. Smoke rises a little thicker than yesterday. A few more doors open. Someone rings the cracked bell once, experimentally, then thinks better of it and stops. The town hasn't relaxed, but it hasn't folded either. Downstairs at the Crooked Crown, you're offered rough bread, weak ale, and something resembling stew. It's food. It counts. Word has already moved ahead of you. People glance your way with a new calculation in their eyes. Not saviors, not fools, something harder to place. Marrowfen sends for you shortly after dawn. Whatever comes next, it won't be the thing in the trees. That problem has been deferred. Deferred problems, as the world keeps proving, are the most interesting kind.
We go to meet Marrow, right?
Hmm.
We go to meet Marrow.
Marrofen is waiting for you in the council hall again, but the room feels different in daylight, less haunted, more tired. Decisions have been made here since you last stood in it. The overturned chair is gone, righted, returned to its place at the table. That alone tells you something. Harrow's reach is choosing to continue. Marrow stands near the narrow window, looking out toward the gate rather than at you. She doesn't turn right away. We followed your rules last night, she says. No kneeling, no sentries alone, no one trying to be clever. She turns now. There are dark circles under her eyes, but her posture is steadier than before. No one vanished. No one came back wrong. That's as close as this place gets to celebration. She gestures for you to sit, then ignores the chairs herself. We're not ready to face what's out there, she says plainly, but we're no longer blind to it. That buys us days, maybe weeks. She sets a small bundle on the table, wrapped in oilcloth, not payment, something else. A caravan leaves tomorrow at midday, she continues. Not ours. Heading east. They don't know what you know, and I won't be the one to scare them into changing course. A pause. Deliberate. But I will tell you this. Whatever's preparing space out there isn't finished, and places like Harrow's Reach aren't the end goal. We're the rehearsal. She slides the bundle closer but doesn't open it. You can stay, Marrow says. Help us harden the town. Teach the watch what you learned. Make yourselves part of the wall. Or you can go, she finishes. Carry this problem somewhere it might matter sooner. She finally allows herself the ghost of a smile. Sharp. Honest. I won't pretend either choice is cleaner than the other. Outside, the bell gives a cautious ring. Morning, properly started. Marrow waits. What do Sebastian and Isaboe decide?
Go.
Go with the caravan coming.
Yep.
We decide to go with the caravan is coming to town.
Marrow nods as soon as you say it. No surprise, just recognition. Of course you are, she says. People who can see the shape of a problem rarely stay where it's polite. She unwraps the oilcloth bundle and finally shows you what's inside. Not a weapon, not a relic. A sealed packet of letters bound with twine and marked with the crude stamp of Harrow's Reach. Names, observations, warnings written in a careful hand that avoids conclusions and sticks to rules. What to do, what not to do, what gets people killed faster. This goes east, she says, to anyone who still thinks frontiers are empty. She looks at Isaboe. You'll recognize the caravan. 6 wagons, canvas patched in blue thread. They lost 2 guards last month to something that wasn't there when anyone tried to describe it. Then Sebastian. If whatever you met decides to follow, I want someone downstream who knows how not to invite it inside their skull. She doesn't offer more coin. Instead, she offers something rarer. The gate will open for you if you come back, she says. That's not true for everyone. Outside, the caravan is already assembling. Teamsters mutter, harnesses creak. People who make their living on the road do what they always do when unease hangs in the air. They pretend it's just weather. The road east waits, nameless, patient. Harrow's Reach watches you leave, not with hope, but with the quiet relief of people who know the fire didn't stop. It just moved. This feels like the end of something. It isn't. That's where we'll open the next stretch of Ashes of What Remains.
We've been playing for an hour. Do you want to keep going?
Let's go ahead and stop.
Okay.
And if you want to play tomorrow, we can.
Okay. We'll pick up from here the next time.
Got it. We'll hold right here. Sebastian and Isaboe stand on the edge of Harrow's Reach as the caravan finishes assembling. The letters are secured, the rules are learned, the thing in the trees has been deferred, not defeated, and the road east waits with the patience of something that knows it will get its turn. Nothing is resolved. Something has changed. That's a good place to stop. Next time we pick up, it'll be with the caravan rolling out under a grey sky, Harrow's Reach shrinking behind you, and the question no one there dared ask hanging in the air. What happens when the preparation reaches a place that is ready? We'll resume from that exact moment.
Alrighty, folks. That's going to do it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. We may play tomorrow. I don't know. It all depends on what's going on. But thanks for watching. If you don't mind, like the video, comment if you want, but subscribe so you'll know when we're playing again.